Hey guys, we are back, and today we're going to be briefly taking our first character up to G21 here. I haven't taken this lightly here, and I want to make sure that I do my fair share amount of research, as well as the fact that whoever we bring up, these characters are going to be pivotal here because with Dark Dimension 9, we also with how rare these resources are, right? With how premium these G21s are. We want to make sure we're not making the wrong decisions here. And I'll kind of give you my 2 cents on why I've picked the character that I picked as my first. But you guys go ahead and let me know if you guys have already brought up some characters up or if you haven't yet and you're kind of on the fence as well here. But obviously in Dark Dimension 9, you can always go through and see what other players have used as well, right? Some people started out with very powerful characters, right? Like Professor Xavier, Null, Blue Marvel, Odin. Those are all great options, and I feel like for those particular characters, they are pretty much future-proof. I mean, if you're not sure and you don't know how long it's going to take you to get through Dark Dimension 9, for sure that is the safe play. To invest in a character for sure. You have 100% certainty that they are not going to be replaced, right? Like, for example, Professor Xavier and Odin is very, very difficult to see that they would not be useful in a year or two, even if you start in complete Dark Dimension 9 a lot later. But for myself, I also think about practicality as well. Much like the other Dark Dimensions that I've ran, I always think about, like, where do we get the most value out of a character and, how accessible can we use them, right? For example, if you see here, the first couple of sections here, 1 and 2 have no restrictions. So basically you can bring up whoever, and this is why people have brought in certain characters up like Xavier, Daemon, Blue Marvel. And then that makes a lot of sense because they're pretty much plug and plays and they'll excel. Having said that now, if I did decide to bring up, let's say, for example, Xavier, Null, then that also hinders our progress because then with the city run, then we run into issues because now we have to use city characters. And basically, you have to bring another 5 characters up. So if I brought up Null and I brought up Xavier, I wouldn't need them later on, of course. Once you get into the sections where you need them, for example, this epic section, which is kind of near the end, right? So if you did decide to bring up some characters there, it may actually end up, you won't be able to use them until that point on, and by then you might not even know what's going on anymore because you'll be like, whoa, what was my cooldowns for Professor X or whatever, right? But anyways, so that's kind of my thoughts as well. The second point here is, like I said, if you're using city characters, for example, if you did decide to copy these guys and use Insidious 6. Then you're able to kind of get through the first couple of nodes, and then you're able to kind of progress through the next 3 as well here. Even though if it takes you a little longer because maybe these Insidious 6 teams will struggle on the first couple of missions, right? Where Xavier and Odin will just absolutely smash, right? So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense here. So I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to do it. But for sure, myself, I feel like starting with 5 city characters is a better approach, just because I've done that previous with the other Dark Dimensions and including Blue Marvel as well, and it definitely for sure I feel like was more faster because you were able to use those characters. And now keep in mind, now you also want to make sure you're using characters that are relevant, right? Bringing up characters that are kind of past metas. Or maybe they don't have the 3.0 stats. That's another issue in itself as well. So again, it's this balancing act. And by the time you get to a certain section, say for example, once we get through city, and then we go into for example, this global section, do the characters that we bring up, are they still going to be relevant, right? And that's kind of where I'm wondering. Depending on how long this Dark Dimension takes you. These characters that you bring up may not even be relevant anymore. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how long this actually takes us. But I mean, as of today, we are in August. So I mean, Annihilus was basically launched around May. So I mean, it's already been a few months, right? And yeah, I mean, we're only just bringing one character up now. So it kind of says a lot, right, about how long this entire process is going to take. I think out of all the Dark Dimensions that I've played, this is for sure gonna be one of the longer ones. And yeah, we were actually pretty speedy with Odin and Xavier, but obviously they've been very gated on these resources, and finally they've allowed at least some of it accessible through the raids, right? Through the T raids that they've recently had here. But anyways, so again, I don't know if the character that I pick here, I don't know if you guys will agree or disagree, but I feel like for my stance, you should pick a character that's going to be kind of in the city section, because then you're going to maximize 5 characters are going to get you 5 nodes. And of course, as well, let's not forget here, even if it takes a little longer, there's still some goodies. There's a lot of goodies here on these nodes. Like, for example, the 9 million gold and 2,000 training mats is pretty solid. Could be better, but obviously better than nothing. And then, yeah, there's some gold here. There's some other, gear tier materials. But, I mean, these training mats and probably the ability fragments, ability leveling T4s, those are always appreciated, right? That's enough for about a skill and a half there. So I mean, those are great. But yeah, I would say if you guys are following my approach, stick with 5 city characters. And of course as well, do we follow this typical pattern of using the Insidious 6 here? And I definitely for sure don't feel like this is a bad approach, because there's a lot of synergy with the 5 of them. And on top of that as well, they are currently in the T raids as well here as a required tech team, right? And they are relatively newer. They don't have the 3.0 stats, but they are one of the newer teams. And eventually I think they are going to be probably on the chopping block sooner than later. But we'll have to see how that goes here during the progress of Dark Dimension 9, right? So anyways, let's quickly jump into the roster here so you guys can kind of see what characters I'm thinking of. But yeah, if we're focusing on City, I mean, there's not that many options. And I think a lot of people will agree here that, there's not really, in terms of the actual City section, I mean, you've got the Insidious 6, and then you've pretty much got the new, the new arena meta, which is kind of like involving Riot and Toxin. Vigilante, they're kind of out, right? They're not going to be, I don't think they're going to be viable anymore, just because they are going to get phased out. And then I guess most recently, the Blade, right? Blade Mighty. Is the Amazing Avengers the key here? Are they going to be worth it? Are they going to be usable here? And that actually leads me into the first character selection that I think. And yeah, and if you guys have seen some of my other videos, you guys will know, right? This shouldn't be a no-brainer. I think it's going to be Spider-Man. He's an absolute fave of mine. His new skin is pretty sweet as well. And of course as well, if you guys haven't checked the movie out yet, please definitely for sure check it out when you are able to. No spoilers, please, for all those that haven't checked it out, but very, very good. And yeah, like I said, Spider-Man brings a lot to the table. Even if he isn't with his whole team, he himself is very, very good on his own, because his passive allows him to evade, and he generates ability energy and fills the speed bar. So he has that dodge chance. If there's a villain Spider-Verse, even better. Like I said, he gets the ability energy, and he increases his speed when he dodges. Like, I don't really think we can ask for a better passive. And then, yeah, and if he is with Amazing Avenger allies, then he also gets 2 evasions, right, to his entire team. This is not exclusive just to raids, right? This is for all the game modes, right? Raids, Alliance War, Cosmic Crucible, right? So just remember that. I think a lot of people forget about that. He also has a stun. So when he has 3 arrow allies, he can reduce the safeguard as well. But with 3 Amazing Avengers, he can also reduce the safeguard. So I feel like in a mode where there's a lot of dangerous characters, this would be very, very handy to have. And it does a lot of damage and stuns. So, and then let's not forget his amazing pass, or his special, which basically it's unavoidable, so they can't miss it. And then he can also change his stealth targets, and he chains and applies the defense down and slow. I don't know how many times this attack I've used, but I love it. Every time I see it, I love it. I absolutely love it. Scorpion Breaker, we used it in the Blade Tower. We used it in the Spider Tower. I mean, what's there not much to like about it, right? So he's kind of in my front runner spot right now. And then again, another city character would be any of the ones that we've talked about, right? Like, for example, if you are kind of going towards that Insidious 6 route, I don't even have the required tech for it, but you can definitely for sure bring up one of the Insidious 6. Let's go to Vulture, actually, because Vulture is... Oh, no, he's not level 110, though, so that's a problem. He's not level 110, but I do have the mats for it. him to go to G21. But yeah, what's there not to like about Vulture? I mean, he's got the rewind, he's got the slow. His passive's nice because he also fills the speed bar per hero and enemy. So again, just lots of good stuff going on with him as well. So again, another front runner. There's obviously the obvious choice right now as well here between one of the new arena meta teams, right? Let's actually just level up Toxin here. But yeah, I mean, these guys are part of the new arena meta. These guys are going to be sticking in the arena for at least a year, so you're probably safe there. They've got the 3.0 stats as well, so that's fine. And those are kind of it. That's kind of it. You can either go the, your Symbiote 6 route, you can go your Amazing Avengers route, or you can go the Insidious 6, right? And like I said, right now, the forerunner right now is Spider-Man. Now, let's kind of dial back here and say, hey, what if we don't want to pick a CD character, What if we want to just stick with pure power and just go with, the king of arena, right? We can bring up our symbiote Quicksilver. He competes with Spider-Man in terms of his biomaterials. So obviously, if you pick him, you're going to be taking the materials away from Spider-Man or maybe perhaps one of the other symbiotes. So that is also something to, keep in mind as well. But, we've got diamonds on him. We got lots of shards on him from the Quicksilver Tower. And yeah, I mean, he's going to be part of the next arena meta. So, it helps out here. The only drawback to him is if you do bring Quicksilver, the problem here is you're not going to be able to use him, right? Up until pretty much the last bit, right? Because he's a cosmic. So he would be kind of in this next section here. And let's have a look here. Oh, no, you know what? Let me back up. Sorry. I'm getting him mixed up with Null. He's still part of that city team. But is he global? No, he's global, isn't he? I'm just getting screwy here. I think he's actually global. Let me just see here. Oh yeah, he's global. My apologies, guys. Well, that's a weird team. Okay, I did not realize the symbiotes had characters all across the board from Cosmic, Global, and I guess they decided to slap City ones in there too. My apologies. No wonder I'm flip-flopping here. But anyways, let me just erase just blur out the last 2 minutes of what I just said there. But so that means we won't really necessarily need to use them until global section. And by then, let's say we go through the city section and we're fine with waiting for a little bit. And by the time we make it to global, is he still going to be viable in this global section? I think there's certain characters, for example, Daemon, Sentry. Those are characters that I feel like that no matter what happens with the game, they're going to be impactful because Daemon is Daemon. He has that percentage-based damage. He's got that massive ult that can ability block. So he's fine. We also have Sentry, whom basically when he dies, you kind of want him to die, and he's going to do a huge amount of damage on the other board, on the other side. So I also feel like he's going to be locked in here. And then you got Quicksilver Symbiote, which, I mean, I got to be honest with you guys. He is part of the arena meta. He's he's good in all. He's an all-rounder. He's good in a lot of game modes. But then the problem with Quicksilver Symbiote is he does his ultimate, he does his special, and then he's kind of useless for a bit. At least, and he doesn't have that synergy, right, with his other team members as well. So this is why it's deterring me right now on bringing him up. Yes, it would be great in arena, but I mean, the thing is with arena, the difference between even the top 10 and the top 20 is basically next to nothing, right? Yes, who cares? Who cares if we're in the top 10? I mean, we get an extra 25 fragments of training materials, and if you're in the top 50, I mean, you get 75 more. I mean, 75 fragments over the span of like a year. That's nothing, right? That's just a few orbs. So ask yourself if you feel like that is going to be worth an investment. Because, yeah, I mean, until they revamp Arena, until they do something with the new, whatever the next version of this arena is, that they've already kind of talked about a little bit, or they've kind of alluded to, it'll be interesting to see here. But, I mean, right now, because of the training materials, and if they were giving out some actual D21s, then maybe it'll be worth it, right? So, I mean, that is kind of my take on it, guys. Like I said, you can talk, you can let me know what you guys think. But I feel like right now, I'm a Spider-Man fan, massive fan. I'm a crazy maniac for Spider-Man. He brings a lot to the table. His passive's awesome. It may be very well a combination of Spider-Man, and maybe I'll use a combination of Insidious 6, right? But I feel like as a standalone character and on his own, he definitely stands shoulders above the rest here. It's actually nice I got 4 diamonds on him as well here. The diamonds definitely for sure bumps him up. Null is another one you can bring, but unfortunately I don't have the mystic materials to do it yet, and he's quite expensive, and there's going to be a lot of mystic characters we have to bring up. So that's the problem there. And again, apologies that I mixed them up here. I think it's just funny that the entire Symbiote 6 team isn't even, they're not locked behind one category, right? Which is unfortunate because that means the full team can never be utilized, right? If they were all together, it makes a much impactful difference, right? It's no wonder when I was doing my Professor Xavier run, I couldn't even use Riot and Venom and Toxin to their full capabilities because they weren't like, they were missing Null or they were missing Symbiote Quicksilver, and it didn't work. It did not mesh well. And the Amazing Avengers actually did really well with the Professor Xavier saga because there was at least 3 of them together. So it makes a lot of sense there that they would shine in that game mode because they're all actually at least together. But yeah, like I said, not a lot of options there. You can, like I said, you can go the other route. You can go Professor X and you can go, Odin, right? Those would be healthy, awesome options that you wouldn't have to worry about in terms of future-proofing. But I feel like right now, if you want to start the city section and if you want to get some characters up going, I feel like that's kind of the approach there. So that was a very long-winded rebuttal there to get to that point here. But yeah, just so you guys are aware, and then so you guys are seeing, whoa, when did Az get a G21 Spider-Man? Well, there you guys have it. That's how we got it. So we're going to hit upgrade here. It's going to cost 105 pieces of these nebulizers, and it's going to cost 105 of these macrophages as well. So I mean, it's not a cheap process, but I'll tell you guys right now, even if you're not ready, even if you don't want to bring any characters up, for sure, this is not a decision I'll take lightly. But for sure, I feel like, yeah, Spider-Man's the king here. We're going to bring up the G21. We're going to have no regrets on this. Also because he's also one of my favorite characters. The movie was awesome as well here. And I think the movie kind of just pushed me to it. I was like, you know what? I'm amped for it. They reworked him just right, I feel like. And yeah, no regrets here on bringing him up. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys are going to be doing this as well. There's also the events here as well here, the Trepidation Takedown. There's a good amount of stuff here, right? Make sure you guys are collecting this before it ends. Yeah, there's a good amount of these orbs as well here. These gear takedown orbs, and yeah, that's probably the most important thing I think about these orbs. And then what you can do here is you can open up some of these, right? Because they are really good because they're going to be given G20s and G21s here in the process. We'll see if we can rebuttal and recoup some of the losses, but we got 7 nebulizers, excuse me, and some other stuff here. So not a ton of the G21s, but we did get a little bit of the G20s back as well, which is kind of nice. I mean, we can always use some of these G19 stuff, and then some of these G20s as well. G20s are always nice to have. I've got lots of skilled G20s, a crazy absurd amount actually. And then yeah, like I said, it's good to have these hydrazines. That will be good for the next cosmic or mystic section, I guess, the mystic characters. But yeah, make sure you open up these orbs there before they retire. And like I said already, no regrets here bringing him up. Yeah, like I said, I'm pretty amped for it. He will be my first, and yeah, for sure, it's kind of like bringing me a bit of nostalgia back again as well with Dark Dimension 8, and of course as well with the Odin and the Xavier saga, where your first is you don't really forget about your first, right? So I think bringing him up here is going to be key here as well for the Spider Tower when we get the next set of floors as well here. For the final set of floors, I guess, whenever the last section is, right? So I think I'll help out here because they've kind of shined over and over how good the Amazing Avengers will be for that sections. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys think. You guys can go ahead and give me a say, no, Az, why did you do that? You wasted your resources. Well, I don't know, guys. I don't know. End of the day here, it's always nice to bring in characters that are obviously meaningful and impactful in the game here. And I do feel like Spider-Man, from my sense, is one of those characters. Not having bias towards him as well doesn't help. But his stun, his slow, the fact that he can fill his own speed bar, and he can also have the evasion on spawn here with his teammates, that's pretty sweet. I feel like overall his kit's complete. And there's definitely, for sure, definitely worse characters to bring up. But anyways, let me know what you guys think. Other than that, we're still on vacation here, so I know, yeah, like I said, that can't really do too much commentary on the tower stuff, but appreciate you guys' time. Appreciate you guys commenting as well here, and I'll definitely for sure have to check on all the comments and stuff upon my return in another few days here. But anyways, thank you again for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a lovely rest of your week.